Mike Gentile, thank you for joining me, sir. District 10, New York State Little League District Administrator. That's a
Yes,
that's a big title.
a lot of words.
And I see you have the Little League hat on there. That's
Yeah.
one of the many hats you're wearing these days, I see.
Yep. That's
Yeah,
it.
awesome. But yeah, Upstate Nation baseball. So I'm just trying to promote baseball in the area. I've had coaches and former players that are from the area talking about baseball, and I thought it would be great to have you on talk about new things this season for Little League. I know some towns have already started their season. New Hartford for myself and my son and our group. We start this Monday, the 29th. So, yeah, what's new as far as Little League goes for 2024?
Yeah, a little bit of safety stuff. Some new trainings that coaches are being put through, some of the safe sport stuff, which Little League's always been pretty proactive with making sure that, safety is priority, both in the quality of play, safety aspects, but also, making sure that coaches and parents and everybody's equipped for the best things to provide a good experience for the kids. Some new trainings that came out for coaches, some new safety things that came down from the state with trying to be proactive with the AED requirements with youth sports, and that's kind of a constantly evolving thing right now that we're working through, and um, and then Little League as a whole has continued kind of their rebranding and just being prioritizing a more, inclusive and welcoming league, which they've always has been. It's always kind of been something they've been known for, but just making sure that, their roots are intertwined and at the forefront as we keep moving forward with our Little League programs.
Yeah, I know Little League has been on the forefront there. Specifically for the Challenger division too. I saw something that you
Yeah,
posted on
so
that.
so District 10, so actually when I became district administrator back in 2018, when I was going to conferences and stuff, very quickly everybody was like, "Do you have a challenger league?" And I was like, "No, we haven't." And it was like, "You need to." Um, and a lot of the district administrators that I talked to were like, "That is the most joy we get out of what we do in our roles." So I kind of made it a priority, and we were working up to it through COVID. And then, of course, the world changed, and kind of finally got it back. And, this year we have about 20 um, kids registered right now.
Okay.
And it's going to be a constantly, open enrollment. And we're going to start playing some games, and it's something I'm really excited about. I think it's going to be a good thing for the community. I've worked with in my professional career, I worked with people with disabilities before, so something that I'm passionate about in and out of baseball. So really excited for that, and something that we're looking for volunteers to assist. It's very big on like having a buddy system. So any kids that want to help out and stuff like that, that's going to be a pretty cool thing. But very excited to just get that moving. We had a parent meeting this past week and
Oh,
really
good.
just talked about, celebrating the wins as we can find them, and just having open conversation about how to provide the best opportunity for kids and adults. So it starts at 4 years old and goes right up to 100. So
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, does it have the same age group? Now, what about like the jurisdictions as far as the towns? Is it more open,
any
I would imagine?
totally open, totally
Yeah.
anybody in the district, and even outside of the district, if there's spots. The next closest, Syracuse, has um a pretty good challenger program. There's some down, I mean, so there's other challenger programs around, but anywhere in the area that they're willing to travel to, are definitely welcome.
Yeah, how would folks, if someone does have a question on it, how would they reach out directly to you? Is there
Yeah, yep.
something on?
They
Okay,
can reach out to me. The Facebook page is good. My email, there's flyers on the Facebook page and stuff, so they
okay,
can certainly do that.
great. And also, speaking of the jurisdictional, I did see the newer rule this year as far as kids that if you're just getting into it, you can play in a different organization,
That's
in a different
so next year.
next year. Okay, so it
Next year.
starts next year.
That is in effect starting for next year.
Okay.
Basically, from the ages of 4 to 7, you're going to be able to sign up wherever you desire. Um, I think there's some good things that may come from that. Um, you know, every year you get situations where, well, they go to the grandparents after school,
Right.
and it's easier for the grandparent to get to League A and League B. So they're really trying to, from a little league viewpoint, they're really trying to just, smooth those types of things out, and just kind of mainstream that. And then,
Hmm.
of course, they're stopping at, you know, 8 years old because that's when you get into all stars and they don't want people manipulating, that part of, what makes Little League kind of unique with the boundaries and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good. That's good to see. Anything with the growth of the game. And I saw an article on MLB.com. I think it was last month, and they talked about the growth of the game as far as coming out of COVID. Obviously, it was a big
Mhm.
disruptor with everything, but um, yeah, and it was, I just jotted down some numbers. So in relation to Major League Baseball attendance, it was up 9.6%, 22 to 23. So
Mhm.
MLB attendance is up, which is a good indicator. And yeah, youth softball and baseball was over 7% from 22 to 2023. So the numbers really have more than come back since the COVID drop. I know for a while there, in maybe 2012, 13, the numbers were trending down, but it does seem like a good sign that it
Yeah, and
does.
it's interesting too because I've looked at those numbers, quite a bit, just kind of researching through it, and well, we always get that, Little League is dying, baseball's dying. It's not what it used to be. Well, and it's almost like when we were at our absolute high, and it was late 90s, early 2000s, it was just astronomical. And we won't see those numbers again, but we're still, if you really look at, participation in youth sports, baseball, softball are still king. No, it's not what it used to be. We've definitely had a huge decline, but it's still outperforming basketball, outperforming football, outperforming soccer, and kind of across the board, it still is the most played. Now, one of the things that I do think is extremely different than what it was 15 years ago, 20 years ago, is you're seeing a lot of kids start a little later. They're coming and they're signing up for baseball or softball for the first time at 8 years old, 9 years old, instead of starting in T-ball and going right through. And you're
Mhm.
also seeing a little bit more of a kid not finishing out Little League and saying at 11 years old, this isn't really what I want. So things have changed a little bit on that end. But numbers are up. I know in Utica the numbers have gone up. I know in certain areas in the valley things are going back up. Some of our leagues, it just looks a little different than what it used to, and what previous generations kind of thought was the norm. But we work with whatever we can get, and we keep evolving, to make sure that we're able to accommodate wherever we can.
Mhm. Yeah, it seems like there is more competition now. So my son's 9. This is his 10-year-old Little League year, so first year in New Hartford. And yeah, he did minor league and lacrosse last year.
Right.
We had to miss, he did hockey. And then after the hockey season, there's spring hockey, which is more of don't want to say pickup, but it's loosely organized
Mhm.
on one weeknight, and we had to miss the last couple because of baseball. But there's more options for kids now overall, which is a good
Yeah,
thing. And then Accelerate. I know we had our tryouts up at Accelerate. We have practices up there inside with our climate, so that there's more. And of course, with the cages that are up there and
right.
other places that have the batting cages year round, there's more opportunity for kids these days for whatever they want to do, really, which
Yeah.
is good with our
Yeah, and I
climate.
mean, and from my viewpoint, like I want there's space for everything to succeed and kids to do everything. I do, I mean, when I was a kid, um, so I'm 34, so I was kind of right 12 years old, right at the part of that like huge
Mhm.
numbers of little league and stuff like that. And I do appreciate kids that are doing baseball, football, hockey, doing a lot of things. I know you hear about kids specializing at young ages. I still think kids should do a lot of things. I still kind of go out of my way to support. Yeah, I want to see more baseball happen throughout the year, but I don't want to see that happen where kids are doing that instead of something else. I
Mhm.
encourage parents to go and sign their kids up for everything because you just don't know, and you don't know what kids are gonna like and enjoy. But on the reverse, when I hear people that are like, "Oh, my 5-year-old doesn't want to play t-ball," it's like, how do they know they don't want to?
Yeah.
Line
Right.
them up, get
Right.
them through it. If it, get, have them give it a chance.
Sure.
So, but that's with everything.
Yeah. And it was as far as the growth goes, we added another team this
Yeah,
year. So and again, you're talking about our specific region where the population, especially as you go up into the North Country, the population really is decreasing. I know
right.
Utica has held steady with a lot of the refugee population, but
Mhm.
yeah,
That's
overall,
something, I mean, that's something really, I mean, being from Utica and I see it, it's because it's just closer to me, and I follow all the leagues around. But, one of the cool things in Utica is you're seeing the Bosnian population now signing up for baseball, and you're
right.
seeing some of these other um, the Russian population. You're seeing more of the Spanish population getting in the organized ball, which sometimes they didn't before because they kind of had their system outside of the little league world, and so you're seeing a lot of that kind of adaptation too, which is really promising because they're trying things other than in their country soccer was um, their pastime, but they're
Hmm.
trying baseball and having success in that. So that's really encouraging too, and it's only going to help the greater Utica area find more success
Yeah.
as well.
And I know I saw, so Rob Manfred, MLB
Yeah.
commissioner from
Yep.
Rome, another upstate New
Hmm.
Yorker doing good things. Yeah, I'd love to have him on someday too here.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool. But his initiative, I read an article that's his number one goal when he came in 2014, 2015, was to grow the game from the youth level. And he does all sorts more, I think, inner city wise to grow it, but he has a lot of cities, and he went to some convention of mayors and he spoke at it and had a lot of the major league
And
players.
he is very, I mean, he's very proactive in the Little League program. I always tease when I'm at conferences and stuff about how, Rome doesn't even do Little League and that's where he's from. And, that's something we worked on too. So, but it is interesting. I mean, and he really has been, proactive. And I think part of what you're seeing is, the pitch clock stuff and those things are helping make the game a little bit more visible. I mean, you think in the past, before the pitch clock, a 7 o'clock start game is getting done at 10 and 11, and majority of kids are sleeping and not seeing the most. Now it's sometimes more reasonable around 9 o'clock, 9:30, and so I think the game is a little bit more visible to kids right now. I think that it's a little bit more relatable with some of the stuff that you're seeing with a few years ago it was the big let the kids play and like, the bat flips, and we all have our opinions on those things and stuff. But, it is something to kind of connect the kids. And I remember being in a conversation, um, the kid hits the walk-off home run at the Little League World Series, and he throws the bat like 15 feet up in the air, and it's like, whoa, like,
Yeah.
that's kind of scary, but
Yeah.
also it's like, what are you gonna do? So finding those balances between, what baseball's always been and kind of loosening those things up, and as long as it's done in a respectful way and in an appropriate way, it's those aren't bad things.
Sure. Sure. So where do you see it, Little League baseball going, say, the next 3 to 5 years? Do you see it just a continuation of maybe a more progressive rules that we've seen the past couple years? And what are your
Um,
thoughts?
I think we are getting to I think we're getting to into the tail end. I think there's been a lot that's been done over the last few years with continuous batting order and
Yeah.
all-star, changing the way we look at the boundaries, um, other things with just that inclusiveness. They've also done a big Girls with Game initiative. So I think it's really just pushing what we've kind of done in the last 3 4 years, and just getting through those things and what it looks like. I've been one that when I first became district administrator, I had 21 leagues. We're down to 16 through merger processes and combining, which have been really good for those leagues to,
Hmm.
kind of stay together and provide more opportunities. I do think there's going to be more of that, especially with the way, not having the boundaries at the younger levels. I think it's going to um, your really good leagues are still going to be fine, no matter what their size are. But some that are kind of struggling might be the nail in the coffin, which is okay. It's
Hmm.
I'm okay with capitalism kind of
Yeah.
taking
Right.
its course there. So I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot of good things to come. I'm hoping that we continue to grow. I am seeing kind of an increase in volunteers and stuff. With my generation, their kids are getting involved in the leagues, and so I'm seeing a lot of that. Um, Not what I'd like, of course. There could always be more, but. Um, Baseball's here to stay, softball's here to stay, and I think we have good years ahead of us.
Yeah, and if anybody that is listening or has someone that they know that is just waiting, that could volunteer. The season's so short, right? This isn't
Yeah,
like a year commitment that you have to give. It is so short. You jump in. The weather's usually, and as we're end of April here, it's turning.
yeah,
So
and
you
what?
get good weather.
It's it's not always coaching. That it could be the concession stand, it could be just field maintenance, it could be announcing a game, doing a scoreboard. A story that like just kind of breaks my heart is a kid in Utica threw a perfect game last year, right? Awesome thing. They didn't have anybody doing the scoreboard for the game or announcing the game because they didn't have enough volunteers, and it's
Yeah,
like such a huge, cool moment is just not as cool as it should have been.
sure.
And so I look at those things and like the attention to detail, is something that we're missing. And across the board, there's some leagues that do it better than others and stuff, but there's always something more that could be added to the game that could, make it more exciting and give them that feeling like it matters and it's important and it's something that people are paying attention to.
Yeah, yeah, good stuff. Um, all right, so last question here. Let's go. So what pulled you in to become the commissioners. That's now, that's not, a lot of administrative work behind the scenes, a lot of work overall. Some of the complaints come your way. So how is it going? And what pulled you in
Yeah.
to do
So,
this?
Little League was an important part of my life. My father was a Little League president when I was a kid. It was something that I always was involved in. It became kind of a home away from home. A story that I always tell, and my mom passed away going into my 12-year-old year of Little League. So in the November before my 12-year-old year of Little League. Um, and without Little League, it would have been a much rougher time. So I've always felt like I had something to give back. And the same goes to, Dick Miller basketball when I was like that
Hmm.
same year and stuff like that. But Little League was important both for my own mental health and kind of my family's mental health because it was just a family thing. Um, when I got home from college, they needed Utica Little League or North Utica at the time was looking for a president. They asked my dad if he wanted to come back, and he said absolutely not. And then I got the next call,
Okay.
and I, in a moment of weakness, I guess I said
Yeah.
yes. And then, I got involved. I was involved with the previous district administrator, and he called me one day. He's like, "Mike, I'm done. I can't do it anymore." And I asked him to stay, and I asked a few other people, and I said, "Hey, you should be the next district administrator." And you know, very quickly, I realized that it kind of had to be me. And at the time, so I mean, I'm 27 when I
Hmm.
become district administrator. At that time, like the youngest one in the world, which is kind of a cool thing, but also like kind of puts it into perspective, it's of where people are at when they do these things. But it's been a cool experience. It's got given me some opportunities to, do some traveling, go to these conferences, be a part of the discussion when things are adapting. Back in March, we had our Eastern Region roundtables where I got to, speak to the rest of the DAs in the region on just, what matters and why this stuff matters. So it's given me a platform, which has been kind of cool. And it's not without its frustration.
Sure.
It's I develop an enemy yearly, several yearly on just decisions and things that need to happen. And but I also have met some really great people. I always go back to previous district administrator Ron Worley. He told me, he goes, Mike, you'll meet the best people in the world through Little League baseball, and you'll meet the worst people in the world through Little League baseball. And unfortunately, he was absolutely right. But I try and focus on, the good people and the kids and what truly matters. And, when you get a kid, a 10-year-old kid that's, coming up with thank you, Mr. Gentile. It's like that, like those are the moments that put it all in the perspective and that, it matters. So.
Yeah, good. Well, thank you, Mr. Gentile. No, I appreciate it. You're doing a great job, and
Thank you.
it takes people like you that want to give back something that everybody, I did talk about the good old days and the things were better back then, but yeah, the memories from Little League and just youth sports in this area, really,
Yeah.
I think most people look back very fondly of those experiences. You don't really remember the wins and losses. You remember
Well, I remember
the.
some of them.
Yeah.
A couple of
Yeah,
them. There's a
yeah,
couple of them
a
stand out,
couple
but it's
stings, sure,
okay.
yeah, yeah, but it's the lifelong friendships and the stories that you get to tell. Um, so
Yeah.
awesome, yeah, no, good stuff. No, you're doing a great job, and I know from
I
speaking.
always say too, people talk about travel ball, and travel ball is important too. If kids want opportunities to play more, but I always go back to, you know, people remember who won a district championship. Nobody knows who won that weekend tournament, and
That's right.
Darien Lake.
Right. That's right.
Like those are
Yeah.
cool, but Little League has a special thing and stuff. So, it is important. And I encourage, anybody that's listening, if they haven't been involved, look to get involved. If their kids are young enough, look to sign them up or set her up and do that with everything. Give your kids an opportunity to try new things and experience new things, whether it's sports or academics or music or art. Just, you never know what those hidden talents are unless they have that experience.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. All right, sir. Well, I appreciate it.
Yes,
Jumping
thank you
on
very
here.
much.
We'll see you at the field here. So how many leagues? I don't know. Hartford starts on Monday, like I said. What
Yeah. So
Whitestown start?
quite a few are starting this between this weekend and next weekend.
Okay. All right, good.
So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so the
fun
weather
time.
weather
As
can go
we
our way here.
it makes it more meaningful when kids are actually playing and it's not paperwork and all the other
Right. Right.
nonsense.
And it's
But
going to be exciting too because we had, the spring break week was later. So it
yeah,
is, we're trying to, we can specifically in New Hartford, we have 6 teams now. So we need to get these games in
yeah,
before the
yeah. Before
cutoff.
you know
But
it, it'll be all-star time and
yeah,
everything else.
yeah, no,
Then
it's
we just pray
exciting.
for good weather.
You're right. That's all we can do.
What we can
All
do.
right, sir.
All right, look forward to
See you
seeing
at
you.
the field.
Have a
Absolutely,
good
Mike.
one.
Thank you.